CTV News at 5 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you're with us on this Wednesday, April 1st. Police in Sault Ste. Marie have released new details on a shooting Monday. Police believe the shooting took place in the 100 block of Dennis Street, where the victim was found. Officers were called Monday around 2:45 a.m., where a person was found with non-life-threatening injuries. Police are now asking for information or video footage from the area between 11:30 Sunday night to 12:30 Monday morning, as well as Third Line East at Avery Drive between 2 and 3 a.m. Monday. Emergency crews responded to a serious collision this morning that partially shut down Highway 11 south of North Bay. OPP saying black ice between South River and Powassan was a factor in the crash. Several commercial vehicles were involved, closing northbound lanes for several hours. Crews spent several hours clearing the road, which reopened around 12:30 this afternoon. Police have not said if anyone was injured. All right, let's talk about the weather. Sunshine today, but unsettled conditions are on the way. For more details, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Have a look, Tony. This is what you're going to get over the course of tomorrow. Some snow, rain, freezing rain, ice pellets, and then lots of rain along that Highway 17 corridor, 20 to 30 millimeters, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, 30 to 40 in North Bay. So again, don't say that you haven't been warned. Let's check out our forecast radar courtesy of Environment Canada. And of course, CAA, get your membership today at caa.ca. This is terrible. This is how it's going to look like tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So again, pack an umbrella, build the ark if you can. Start early tomorrow morning. We'll get rain, mixed precipitation during the day. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes, Tony, with the 5-day forecast.
Thanks, Rick. A 13-year-old was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after a snowmobile crash in Blind River. It happened Friday on an Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Club trail south of Lake Dewborn. Investigators say the snowmobile left the trail and struck several trees. The teen wasn't licensed and has been issued a ticket. The town of Cochrane and its mayor, Peter Politis, are facing legal action. The former chief administrative officer for the community has filed a statement of claim against them. CTV's Lydia Chubak tells us more.
The town of Cochrane and its mayor, Peter Politis, are being sued by a former chief administrative officer. 55-year-old Monica Mallerby held the CAO's position from August 2022 to April 2025, when she claims she was terminated without cause. Prior to that position, she had other jobs with the town and worked for it for 27 years. According to the statement of claim, Mallerby wants her CAO job back or a comparable executive position. She is also seeking $875,000 to cover a variety of damages, including stress, defamation of character, her pension, and for breaching the Ontario Human Rights Code. Mallerby accuses Politis of a years-long campaign of harassment against her, including implicating her in the misappropriation of $2 million in public funds while acting as CAO. In a recent news release, Politis said he is aware of the statement of claim, and it would be inappropriate to comment further on the specific allegations at this time, since the matter is now before the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. He also wrote he has full confidence in the legal system, and both he and the town will provide formal responses in a statement of defense. In an email to CTV News, Mallerby's lawyer wrote, Mallerby may discuss these matters publicly in the future, but at this time will not comment further as her lawsuit is before the courts. The town of Cochrane has yet to respond to our request today for a comment. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
It's hard to believe with so much snow still on the ground. Today is the start of the Wildland fire season, which lasts until October 31st. The province says it's investing more in wildfire response, but the union representing those crews is sounding the alarm. CTV's Lindsay Alec reports.
To prepare for the 2026 fire season, the province has added an additional 68 permanent staff and increased compensation. In a statement, the Minister of Natural Resources says our government stands behind the wildland firefighters, pilots, and support staff that make up our frontline response, and we will ensure they have everything they need for the upcoming fire season.
We are seeing increased money for wildland firefighters on the ground. It's not where we'd like it to be, right? We're still nowhere near compensated in the same way as city firefighters and things like that. But there's also a whole world of under-recognized people in our program that are incredibly important. We're starting to see lots of media about air traffic controllers and lack of payment, and we have staff that are essentially air traffic controllers for wildfire, and they are horrendously underpaid.
Noah Friedman is the vice president of OPSU Local 703, which represents approximately 60 people locally. And while he says an increase of $15 million this year is appreciated, it's not enough to support the program.
If we look at a season like 2024, which was a relatively simple season, Ontario as an entire province burned an area roughly the size of a quarter of the greater Sudbury area. Not a big deal for us. We can handle that. But even in that season, we spent $171 million.
Since 2018, Ontario has increased the annual base funding allocation for emergency firefighting by 93%, for a total of more than $65 million. Friedman adds that staff are currently working on an expired contract that came to an end at the end of 2024. He says there is no word on when negotiations will begin, but that the union will be asking for an increase in pay and benefits. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Time for a quick break. Coming up on CTV News at 5, Rick has your full weather forecast. But first, we're heading to Gillies Lake in Timmins. This live webcam is courtesy of that city. It's -6 Celsius. We are back in just a few minutes.
Pure Country 91.7. Sudbury's home for the best country music. Listen for your chance to win $50,000 with Pure Country's big $50K payday.
Well, contrary to the rumors earlier this week about lots of snow in northeastern Ontario, some areas will get that snow tomorrow. More to the south, it's going to be wet, very wet along that Highway 17 corridor. Forecast radar. Let's have a look. Here's a system that's creeping in to the northeast for tomorrow. As you can see, more snow to the north, to the south along that Highway 17 corridor. Lots of rain. For instance, Sault Ste. Marie and Sudbury, 20 to 30 millimeters tomorrow evening. And in North Bay, 30 to 40. Let's take a look at some of the numbers now. Sudbury Nickel Belt, snow and ice pellets starting around noon tomorrow. Some cloudy skies in the morning, 0. Rain Friday on Good Friday at 8. Rain on Saturday at 5. Sleet on Sunday at 1. And the chance of flurries Monday at -1. In Sault Ste. Marie, here we go. And Algoma, freezing rain, ice pellets, 0 your high. 4 degrees on Friday, more of the same, freezing rain and rain. Freezing rain and rain on Saturday, 5 degrees. 2 degrees on Sunday, chance of flurries, and the chance of flurries come Monday at +1. Meanwhile, in Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, more snow in the area for tomorrow. It'll start off with the chance of flurries and then accumulate. -3, some sleet Friday, 0 your high. Snow on Saturday at 2, snow Sunday at 1, -4 Monday with the sun and cloud. So big variation in conditions and temperatures throughout the northeast over the course of the next couple of days. Thursday for Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, snow and ice pellets, -1. Rain and freezing rain, 3 degrees. Here we go. Saturday, some sleet at 2. Chance of flurries on Sunday, -1. -2 on Monday with the chance of flurries. So if you're thinking about traveling, take it easy. If you can, do what you can. If you can't, don't drive. Be safe. It's going to be messy over the course of the next couple of days. North Bay, West Nipissing, snow and ice pellets at 0 for tomorrow. Friday, we've got rain at 11. 7 degrees on Saturday with the rain. Sleet on Sunday at 2 and -1 Monday with the chance of flurries. So, Tony, it's not the type of Easter weekend that we all wanted or all expected initially, because it's going to be wet, it's going to be snowy in some sectors of northeastern Ontario. But again, that's what we've got to deal with the Easter Bunny hopping around on Sunday. It's going to be somewhat soggy. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. In North Bay yesterday, the country's chief of defense staff reiterated Canada will not become involved in the Middle East conflict. While at 22 Wing General Jenny Garignon answered questions from the media about the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran. The general had previously ruled out any Canadian military involvement and stands by her decision as the war enters its 5th week. She did say once there's a cease in hostility between the warring countries, Canada's involvement could change to help and support Gulf partners.
We could, of course, consider various options at that moment, but we are monitoring very closely with our partners and allies to make sure that we understand the various considerations in the area, but again, looking forward to see how this is going to evolve in the future.
Carignan says Canada is increasing its defense spending for domestic security, which 22 Wing and NORAD in North Bay are involved with. It is a sight we're about to see more often. North Bay residents were in awe last night as the Ontario Northlander test train arrived in our region. This video courtesy of Ryan Meilleux, who captured the moment the train and its crew arrived in the gateway city. Ontario Northland and the province have yet to reveal when regular service might start, only that it will be sometime this year. It's been 50 years since Ontario first passed its seatbelt law, requiring everyone in a vehicle to buckle up. Police are using the opportunity to remind motorists of the impact. CTV's Angela Gemmell has more from Sudbury.
It takes only seconds to snap in a seatbelt, but even after 50 years, it's a safety measure provincial police still have to enforce.
Most motorists are aware of the risks of not wearing a seatbelt, and OPP says compliance is high.
In general, I think it's stats show that most people do, or most drivers do, or most vehicle occupants do.
However, across Ontario last year, OPP laid a total of 13,560 charges to those not wearing a seatbelt. Also in 2025, 41 of the total road fatalities investigated by the OPP, not wearing a seatbelt was a contributing factor.
It saves not only lives, but serious injuries at times as well. So it just prevents occupants from being either ejected or possibly getting injured even more severely inside the vehicle during a collision.
Thibault says parents need to make sure children are buckled up and in the right car seat for their weight, height, or age.
By doing so, not only you're protecting yourself, but you're also ensuring that there's no tragedies and your family doesn't have to deal with the aftermath of you usually losing your life over not wearing a seatbelt.
This Easter weekend, OPP will be conducting the annual seatbelt campaign, checking that drivers and passengers are buckled up.
Please ensure you are wearing your seatbelt the way it was designed to be worn, not under your arm and not behind your back. Both of those variations can result in you receiving a ticket for wearing your seatbelt improperly.
In Ontario, failing to wear a seatbelt carries a fine of between $200 and $1,000 plus 2 demerit points. Other consequences could be more deadly. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
It began as a seed of an idea. Coming up on CTV News at 5. Yes Theatre in Sudbury is set to premiere Way Out There, an original production. Yes Theatre announced the cast of an original musical that brought one North Bay resident from the UK to Sudbury. CTV's Madison Merrier has the story.
In 2021, Yes Theatre began working behind the scenes on a commissioned original production. And on April 18th, Way Out There will have its premiere.
We had a call for new ideas, so it was nationwide. We had about 75 different projects apply. From that, we whittled it down to about 5 pieces that we interviewed, and we asked folks to give us a song and a synopsis. So it was a very, very small seed of an idea. From there, we selected Way Out There.
The musical is not only new to Sudbury, but new to the world. And Cosentini is hoping that all of the refining over the past 5 years will help it get to stages everywhere.
Way Out There tells the story of these 2 siblings who are on a search to find their father. It's sort of like Stranger Things, X-Files. There's this like extraterrestrial element to it, but at its core, it's about this family and about them sort of working through this really crazy event that happens to them.
The music is kind of like mid-late 90s rock alt, which is really great and exciting because there isn't currently any musical theater with that at the moment. And that I think there is a character for every single person in the audience that they're going to relate to.
Cosentini says casting is integral to every production. And with a small group of 10 actors, 10 artists, and a live band, finding the right people was imperative.
There are folks who have been on the Yes stage since they were kids, now in leading roles. We have new artists like Samantha, James Pattinson, another wonderful UK artist who's now based in Northern Ontario. So it feels really great.
I wasn't sure if I'd move back to Canada because things have been going really well for me in the UK. But this opportunity to work here at Yes this year has come about, and it was just a perfect time, and it's near my family, and it just really feels like a proper return home. So it's been really wholesome.
Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
All three of our Northern OHL teams were on the home ice last night looking for playoff victories. We start with the tightest series, North Bay and Peterborough. Cam Warren would open the scoring for the troops, and that would be the game winner. The battalion go on to tie up the series at 2-2, blanking the Petes 4-0. Sudbury Wolves played a good game last night, tying it up with less than a minute on the clock to force the top-seeded Brantford Bulldogs to overtime, but it was not to be. Brantford takes the win 6-5 in overtime and go up 3-0 in the series. And in the Sioux, the Greyhounds hosted the London Knights. This one goes to double overtime. Hounds forward Carson Andrew with a game winner. The Hounds lead the series 3-0. The Hounds and Knights play Game 4 tonight at GFL Memorial Gardens. Puck drop is 7:07. In the NOJHL, the Timmins Rock making it a decisive win in Game 7 last night. They eliminated the Sault Thunderbirds 5-2. The Rock will go on to play the Hearst Lumberjacks in round 2 later this week. He wears many hats. When we return, we talk with an author, musician, and speaker. You're watching First at 5. For Christians, this is Holy Week as people prepare for the death and resurrection of Christ. So it's appropriate that we tap into that theme for this week's Northern Book Club. An Ontario author, speaker, and musician has visited the North before, and now Chris Bray joins us from Elmer. Hi there, Chris. So glad you could make some time for us.
Hi. Oh, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Why did you write the book Resounding Truth?
Well, really, for me, it was my journey. As somebody who was brought up Catholic, I didn't necessarily have an appreciation for our faith and why we did all of these seemingly at times unimportant things, these traditions that we have, these symbols that we have in our faith. And I wanted to really understand why, especially as a musician traveling around to a lot of different denominations. I was challenged in that reality to really unpack, well, how do we know what truth is and what God intended for us? And this Jesus man who came to earth 2,000 years ago, who was crucified, put to death, what did he intend for us to worship him and to follow after him? And what does that all mean? And so those are the things that I wrestled with. And this book really is my journey through all of that.
And who do you hope your writing reaches the most? Do you have a demographic?
Yeah, I would say it's probably most relevant for people who are Christian, who are maybe wrestling with some of those similar realities. You know, the tensions that I found for me was I wanted to know, like, truly, if all this Christianity stuff is real, if it's true, well, how do we know which church's teachings articulate that in the fullest sense? And I wanted, my heart was after that. You know, I want to know, how can we do that? And that led me back to early Christianity and reading the early church fathers and some of the great sources over the last 2,000 years of our rich history.
Chris, do you tailor your messages to different audiences when you travel across our country and into the United States?
For sure. Yeah, because I think the first and most important thing to acknowledge is that, especially in Christianity, we have so much in common. And I think it's really easy for us to focus on what divides us. And those are some important issues. And so what I like to do is, no matter which denomination is inviting me to come, my start was in music and the Christian music world, and I found that is something that really brings people together, doesn't it? Is music, and no matter maybe some of the theological differences, and so I really do like to focus and acknowledge and celebrate what our commonalities are, the things that we agree on, and we come together, and that's so much of Christianity, and then it's through that lens that then we can, with sort of this brotherly affection and affirmation of one another, we can look at, well, what are some of the things that maybe we have a different perspective on and pursue that together.
Chris, I'm wondering very quickly, what projects are you currently working on?
Well, I'm constantly traveling and touring to different churches and schools, and so that's a heavy focus of my own ministry and the work that I do. But I'm constantly writing. I put out videos on social media and different reflections to just try and help people be able to continue on their journey and seeking after that fullness of truth that I so desperately want to seek after in my own life.
Chris, thanks so much for your time. Take care.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Chris Bray was our guest, and to see more of our authors and our Northern Book Club, head to our website, CTV News Northern Ontario.ca. Our first community close-up comes to us from Sault Ste. Marie. Rose Russo took this photograph of a blue jay snacking before the hail and rain this week. Thanks so much for the picture, Rose. We're heading to Tomstown, southeast of Englehart. Kitty Lalonde took this picture of a silver fox. She says it was looking for snacks. Appreciate you thinking of us, Kitty. And we're off to Sturgeon Falls. Julie Roy emailed us this photograph of two visitors in her bird feeder, a squirrel and a downy woodpecker. Great shot there, Julie. Thanks for sending this in to us. And if you have any pictures, videos, or events you'd like us to showcase, you can always email them to us at communitycloseup@bellmedia.ca. And finally, the Wikwemicong Tribal Police are retiring their fleet to make way for the newest innovation in policing. The police service posting the new hover cruiser on social media today, saying no more bumps, no more potholes, and no more traffic jams for us. So if you look up and see a flying cop car on the island, you're probably hallucinating, as this was just a bit of April Fool's Day fun. And there's more news for the North coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, continue watching as we hand things over to CTV National News.